Sơn SPEC chung tay cùng bạn.
Ở một thành phố mà mỗi tấc đất là tấc vàng như thủ đô Hà Nội thì chúng ta thường thấy xuất hiện những tòa nhà và những căn chung cư thiếu những khoảng không gian xanh. Thế nhưng ngày hôm nay thì Ngọc Hân sẽ mời quý vị và các bạn đến với một địa điểm mà lấy tiêu chí xanh đặt lên hàng đầu.
Hi, hello, how are you?
Ngày hôm nay thì Ngọc Hân rất là vui khi được đến đây để có thể tham quan công trình cũng như là ngôi nhà mà anh thiết kế. Vậy khi nhận được cái dự án này thì cái việc mà anh tìm hiểu về cái vị trí địa lý như thế nào để có thể lên ý tưởng để thiết kế dự án này ạ?
This is locating in the new Hanoi. We wanted to create something that is modern, something that is contemporary. Something that we can always bring forward to the future. But having said that, we also wanted to create something that reflect back to the traditional old Hanoi, so we can never forget where the origin is. So for instances, for this situation, what we want to bring into the new Hanoi is a new architecture and a new style of living that is different. And of course, what we have done here is to create a livable building that is high-rise, which is not common for most people in Hanoi. So what we did here is actually we wanted to bring back a lot of greenery to the project, and this greenery we hope that will improve the life of the new people in Hanoi who wants to live in the high-rise building.
Và ở cái công trình ở đô thị thì tiêu chí xanh luôn là một trong những cái tiêu chí được đặt ra hàng đầu. Và với công trình này thì sao ạ?
The first thing that we think about or wanted to achieve is to bring back the greenery to this high-rise building. Typically in Hanoi, a lot of people, or even in the whole of Vietnam, typically people live in a landed property where greenery is easily accessible. So what we wanted to create is that to have this greenery in this development, and of course this is high-rise, and that make it a little bit more challenging, but we want to do that, and I think we have done that quite successfully in this project. Where the greeneries are incorporated, number one at the Sky Garden, which is about 3,000 square meters, and every four story we have a sky terraces. So this is how we bring back the greenery to the people of Hanoi who wants to live to stay in the city and in a high-rise condition.
Vậy với tòa nhà này thì đâu là điểm nhấn của công trình?
The site is actually being sandwiched by two plot of land that is going to be developed as a high-rise as well. So we do not know actually at the end of the day what are these buildings going to be and how high they're going to be and what are the design going to be. So what we do is that if you ask me about the best point is how we actually incorporate all the livable spaces which was mentioned earlier, like the Sky Garden, the Sky Terraces, into this building and to make it livable. And how we do that is basically when we look at the land where the positions of the blocks are being placed on site is actually what we do is that disperse the block, move it away from each other as possible, to create that airy and to create that non-congested feeling when living in this condominium. This is what we did.
Với những tòa nhà cao tầng thì cái việc mà ánh nắng chiếu trực tiếp vào căn hộ là cái điều mà khó tránh khỏi. Vậy với tòa nhà này thì ông đã giải quyết vấn đề đấy như thế nào?
Before we talk about the solution, as I mentioned earlier, we understand the site context. And when we understand the site context, the building basically design itself following a set of rules. So the building or the blocks are positioned north-south orientations, avoiding the east and west. So in terms of the sunlight, you will get you can actually work with the daylight of the site without having to experience extreme sunlight which is coming from the west and from the east. So this is how we actually deal with the sunlight with regards to design.
Về những cái mảng xanh này, thì anh có thể giới thiệu kỹ cho anh về những cái công năng của nó được không ạ?
Earlier I was mentioning about the having control over the environment or the elements that can be fully under the occupant's control, and this is one of it. So this is a green wall that is doubled up as the sunscreen. So this is also become part of the architecture later on if let's say this prototype is successful and welcomed by all the occupants. So as you can see, this sun shading is fully operable. And it depends on whether you want to have more lights coming into your apartment, or you want more breeze to come into your apartment. So this is fully controlled. You can orientate towards any direction that you want, and you will get a different result with regards to the amount of sunlight and the air that's coming into the apartment. Come have a sit inside the apartment again.
Diện tích của một cái căn chung cư của mình thì cũng không phải là quá rộng. Vậy làm thế nào để có thể tối đa hóa được cái diện tích sử dụng này?
For the apartments, our approach is always to have effective and usable spaces. The apartment is designed to be a rectangular shape and square. So it's a very pure geometrical shapes that allow for effective usage of the space, and for that we managed to create a more livable space and more livable apartments for all the occupants.
Vậy còn những cái giải pháp về ánh sáng cũng là về khí hậu thì sao ạ?
The lightings and the ventilations, as we always have very deep concerns about, what we do here is to basically create the block as thin as we can and as effective. What happened here is that, as I mentioned earlier, the apartments are laid in a single loaded corridor in a series of blocks that is actually fan out. And when they fan out, they create, they invite natural ventilations to penetrate through your building, as well as the lighting. Typically, an apartment block in anywhere you see, especially in Vietnam, it actually comes in the form of a block, a tower block. And this tower block is very much confined within a geometrical shape that has very limited fenestrations or to say disbursement of the block to allow for these natural ventilations and natural lights to go in. So it's very different. Blocks are set very far apart, and this will encourage more lights and more ventilations, and of course is an expensive building to build for that reason. Yeah.
Anh có thể chia sẻ cho Ngọc Hân cũng như là những khán giả của chương trình được biết về những cái vật liệu xanh mà sử dụng trong căn hộ thì sẽ có những cái tính chất cũng như là đặc điểm như thế nào không ạ?
When we talk about the green architecture, and if you talk about getting it into a micro scale that comes into inside an apartment, there's a lot of green features that we can incorporate, even from construction materials to the technology. So when we talk about implementing green strategy for an apartment, within an apartment, we obviously talk about the finishes, and the finishes about the paint that we use that doesn't produce harmful gases. We talk about the type of flooring that we use, perhaps from a recycled materials. Instead of using stones, we can use for perhaps reconstituted stones, such as compressed marble, who doesn't actually go into the mountain and start breaking up the mountain to get the pieces out. We look at today's technology as well. What does today's technology available that we can actually tap on? For example, nowadays we have water energy sanitary fittings. We also have energy saving light fittings, and some apartments we can also introduce sensor, and all these are available today that we can actually use. So in terms of sustainable living, of course the technologies and in terms of constructions and materials selections, and the technology available is to everybody to pick and choose what is required and what is suitable for the apartments.
I have a gift for you.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thời lượng của chương trình đã kết thúc. Xin được hẹn gặp lại quý vị và các bạn trong chương trình tuần sau.
Tắt khi không sử dụng.
Tắt khi không sử dụng. Tắt khi không sử dụng.
Tắt khi không sử dụng.
Tắt khi không sử dụng.
Chung tay góp sức cho cuộc sống tươi đẹp.
Sơn SPEC chung tay cùng bạn. Sơn SPEC chung tay cùng bạn.